Live, and good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, wherever you are in our amazing world. Thank you for joining me today for a wonderful conversation where we get to shine the light on a very, very special person, a member of not just the Sacred You community, but the Serving Circle community. And if you don't know about the Serving Circle community, definitely check it out and pop a comment in the comments and say, what's this thing about the Serving Circle? Definitely recommend it, because you get to meet some amazing people like our very special guest today, Dr. Gary Wohlman. So Gary, thank you so much for joining us today, where we're going to get to know you and learn about how we can share our voice and the message with the world, so much more, just like you're doing. Which is great. Let me introduce you a little bit. Then, like I said, I want to know more about you from you. So you're an archaeologist of the soul. I love that.
Indeed.
Really. Integrating presentation coaching, transformational body therapy, and awakening creativity to free layers of the stored physical, emotional, and creative energies buried in the landscapes of our bodies, our chief instruments of communication. Mm-hmm. That is so powerful.
Thank you.
So powerful. Now, even though we were just talking and how you are currently living off grid, which we definitely want to know more about too, you were actually born in New York City. What an amazing difference. Amazing difference. And now you're living off grid in Northern Australia, which is beautiful. And you've received the Headmaster's Award at Horace Mann Private School for the student most excelling in both academics and athletics. Mm-hmm. Love it. Want to know so much more. And Gary, there is so much more to know. So tell us about the life of Gary and how you got from New York City to where you are now, being the archaeologist of the soul.
Absolutely. Thank you for all those great comments. I couldn't have said it better. Of course, I wrote those words. So it's interesting to hear you echoing them where it doesn't have to come from within myself. My whole journey there, Sophia, has been traveling from where I started off in New York City west my whole life. I've made huge leaps. San Francisco, Hawaii, New Zealand, Australia, Bali, and Thailand over my 70 years. And in this journey, I've taken a prowess, a passion for what this body, our bodies, has been able to do as a champion springboard diver, gymnast, track star. And when I went to San Francisco, I learned all kinds of, as the beginning of the humanistic psychology movement was starting back then in the early 70s, terrific training programs in polarity therapy, bioenergetics, postural integration, all forms of physical, emotional, and creative release work. When I say that I'm an archaeologist of the soul, what I mean by that is when I received that work in San Francisco in my early 20s, what emerged through me in also the releasing of tensions and tears and emotions and all kinds of held on to stored energy in my physical body was out came the physical tension. Then the next layer down was the emotional self-talk, holding these tensions in place and keeping me attached to an old, familiar, outmoded who I thought I needed to be in order to fit in this world. And then underneath that layer again, physical, emotional. Then once they're released, the creative layers of what happened with me, being able to create songs, poems, plays, paintings, out with this huge creativity. I see us all this way. I see all of us buried within our own landscape. And so I've devoted my life ever since that time to freeing these layers of consciousness where we're all buried within our own skin. And in so doing, I've created numerous tools with my body therapy, presentation coaching, and awakening creativity. in the body therapy, I developed a tool that, like in receiving this award from my graduating class at Horace Mann, very highly esteemed private school, I did receive the award for the most academically and athletically connected student. And my whole life's been about that, connecting the mind with the body. So with the body therapy, what I did was I found a way to stretch the muscles of the body at the same time that people were exhaling. And I spoke in affirmations in rhyme, like Dr. Seuss, to take people on this absolutely outrageously fun and whimsical, swift vision quest that would transport them in renewed self-talk, because it's easy to remember in rhyme, to transform people's relationships to our body, our communication, our partnerships, our creativity, and our contribution to humanity. When I was in my early 30s, I came out as a court jester and took these creative gifts in Hawaii to artists in the school program to share living legends of that culture with children, and with an interactive, participatory, improvisational bent, again with the rhyme, where everybody participated in the story and then learned it from a visceral, visual, kinesthetic point of view. Then I became more adept at being able to present myself and began to do this with heads of corporations, people who are running organizations, mainly and notably presidents of national speakers associations in the US, in New Zealand, in Australia, many professional speakers, top speakers in the world I've been coaching, and using these same improvisational skills to enhance the verbal, visual, and vocal engagement. So when people speak, I assist them from holding back, reproducing an old moment, then changing the self-talk and memory of that moment so people are able to take a stand of command in their land and speak from a place of authenticity, vulnerability, and strength, and connect with humans both online these days as well as in live connection as never before. So that's my journey in a 5-minute nutshell.
In a
You're smiling.
5-minute. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And I love it in a 5-minute nutshell. We're definitely going to have to come back so we can have more than just five minutes. But I love it. I like everything that you've just talked about and everything that you offer people. It's like, I just feel the call and the need just to honor you. Now, I speak to a lot of people who want to be speakers, who have a story to share, who are very inspirational through their life journeys, whatever they've been able to overcome, and extremely inspirational. But yet there's something that's holding it back. Right. Like we have like you mentioned, all our life experiences. It goes into, they go into our bodies and can affect us, not just our voice, but our movement and everything. And I love it that now you're following like your passion to help others to unlock all that stuff that is holding us back.
It's very simple, actually. It's very simple. I'll give you an example.
Yes.
One day, the first one that comes to mind, I always pick the image of what I'm seeing in my mind's eye, and that then becomes the next interaction or the next staging of a particular transformative ritual. So as you mentioned that, I saw a picture of an event where in Hawaii, about 5-6 years ago, I was at a large conference of conscious movement facilitators who were meeting in Maui, where I used to live. And a man who is a 5 rhythms movement teacher, conscious dance teacher from New York City, was talking to me at the lunch break. And he said, I forget what I have to say sometimes. And I hold back from really presenting the fullness of my expression, my authenticity. I said, what's holding you back? Is there something that happened when you were younger and you started to shake and you started to cry? And he said, I was bullied all my years when I was growing up in New York by all kinds of gangs. And my memory of standing up in public, even now when I'm in front of these very supportive groups who come to learn from me, is that when I stand up, I'm going to be attacked, not just rejected, but hit, and they're going to really hurt me. I say, okay, now he's really streaming with tears. And his vulnerability was shifting something aside because he admitted to the place where he was stuck. And a number of people in the room were witnessing his beautiful vulnerability, his raw, bold expression. And one after another came up to him and said, I like this. You're the kind of person I want to work with who doesn't hold back the fears, the shame, the anger, the pain. And he began to create a new self-talk. This is important. When any of you who are listening and watching are ready to reframe, you go back to an old moment and then you reframe that moment. In his case, he came up with the new self-talk of, it's safe for me to be seen and heard on all stages of my life. And with my court gesture skills, I had him sing it, whisper it, shout it, play around the room with it until it became cemented, anchored in his muscle memory. And it was a huge turning point in his life. Let me take this a bit further. For any of us that have created a program from any well-intentioned yet critical parent, mentor, teacher, lover, friend, who basically said, you can't be who you really want to be. They're either jealous or they had another agenda for you. Here's an exercise, the most powerful one that I've developed, that it's easy for us to practice. I'll do it with you right now. Do it with me in karaoke style, you who are watching, so you can really feel it in your bones, not just hear an interesting speaker. Here we go. Imagine yourself addressing that person or group that offended you, that put you down at an earliest stage of life. Saying these exact, or your version of these words after me. I now address you, and then you say the name of the person who pushed me down. In the online space, I recommend you take your right hand and direct it to the right upper corner of the screen. It looks like the left corner, but it's my right hand. That's the assertive energy from the male side of our body, saying these words. When you offended me, when you rejected me, when you attacked me in the way that you did to an individual or group back then, it so hurt me that I made a decision that I'm not good enough. I can't show myself. It's not safe to be seen. I'm going to be attacked. This is a false persona that I developed in order to be able to relate to you. It never was my true essence. And do it like this with your hand, holding it like an open chalice. With your left hand dipping into the cup, say these exact or your version of these words after me. I take these program patterns and pain, and I send it, do this with me, back to the source. I send it back to where it came. Heels of the hands up into the air. Feel the heels of your feet down to the earth. Declaring these words. I have just sent this past program I've been attached to, not feeling good enough, not feeling safe and being seen, somewhere else to play. Today for me is a new day. Taking your hands, hitting them on your hips very gently as you say these words. Hip, hip. Exactly. Hooray! My new self-talk is, it's safe for me to show up, stand up, and be heard and seen on all stages and in all stages of my life. And then I ask that person to notice in their thinking, in their speaking, in their actions for evidence, in their interactions, even in their dreams, of how this new self-talk has shown up in the weeks that follow when I continue to work with them online and continue to be a support. It's a very powerful exercise, probably the most powerful one that I've created. And now you can practice on your own or practice with me if you feel like you'd like some guidance, coaching, and mentoring. That's an example how anyone can step up and feel free to, it's safe for me to share my message with you and be heard.
I love that. That is so, like, you can feel the energy of that. You can feel the power of that going through your body. And I can just imagine how, 100 times, 1,000 times more powerful it is when you actually do that. And you're standing up there and sending that programming back to where it comes from,
Yes.
and then bringing in the new programming. Love it. I'll definitely be watching this again and checking
Good.
out
It's worth
all your
revisiting. Absolutely. Yes.
your links. Now I've just put all your YouTube channel and your website and everything else. Tell us a little bit, is there anything else that you would like to share about your presentation website? The
My
presentation doctor.
presentationdoctor.com is the
Yes.
name of that website. That's right.
Yes.
And when you visit that website, you'll see all kinds of videos, media interviews of the same breakthroughs. It's also on my YouTube channel that would help you see how others have made similar breakthroughs, and you see it, you go, oh my goodness, I can do that too. So it's worth visiting. I also have a free ebook there on mastering authenticity and rapport that you can send your email. I can send that to you. It happens automatically. My YouTube channel is really what I've been focusing more of lately, because I'm doing a lot of videos and a lot of online Zoom sessions like this. I'm putting a lot of it up online, and that would even be better somewhere down at the end of this session. I know the people that work with you will post that. It would be wonderful for you who are watching and listening to see actual moments, to hear actual moments, and to connect with, oh, how can I unpack that? How can I practice new self-talk? What can I do to navigate through the space? What if I'm held back? I have over 120 videos there, and a lot of them are just 59 seconds and less. That is a really powerful way, along with engaging with me with a complimentary discovery call, to take you through this, which I'm very happy to do. So the website, mypresentationdoctor.com, the YouTube channel, which you see the link in the post below,
Yes.
are very and a Calendly link to be able to Zoom with me to explore a connection. I'm happy to guide anyone through these challenges with a complimentary half hour or more. I like to be generous with my time. So if that's what you're asking me about the website, great. There's also a blog in there that I've written that is text on interactive communication, because my whole way of working is to create an engagement and a relationship with the audience and my body and my messaging, as though they all have a consciousness to connect and interconnect. Most speakers, even some of the best speakers in the world, some of who I've been coaching, they have a beautiful message, the point. They have some good examples, stories, but they forget the application, the what's in it for me from the audience point of view. And my sense about this form of relationship speaking is I develop a relationship with my body, my messaging, and my audience. Then we're in a real intimacy and a caring of connection and a sharing that's impossible when I'm just downloading information. It's all about developing this rapport. And then guess what? The information floats through more easily. I'm no longer nervous when I'm in relationship with you. So these are some really cool guides and tips following your question. Tell us about your website. It's bringing your message to life. That's my main message.
Yeah. And allowing that to happen, giving people the opportunity to share their message.
It's so true, Sophia, to share them. And, many people are interested in sharing their message, but there's something stopping them. I remember at one stage, I was asked to do a presentation for a national speakers convention in Washington, D.C. It was shortly after the Vietnam War. And a woman spoke with me again on the lunch break. She said, I have seen so many soldiers die on the field, and I want to share what I have seen, what I've felt, what I've heard, and the messages, but I'm so scared. I feel like I'm going to lose it up there. So I gave her this simple exercise that you can practice. Instead of sending your message with all the nervousness of how do I send it out there, up and out with people you want to impress or reach out and somewhere else in front of you, instead, send the message down and in, as though you're sending a spear of fiery, heartfelt intention down through the center of your own spine towards the center of the molten earth. And then I asked her to practice that extra, send a sound down through there, and she said, I'm not nervous anymore. I'm connecting with myself first. Because the key message in this is, It's an inside job. And by
Yes.
giving it to yourself first, the message, others get it by osmosis. They feel you getting it rather than trying to
Yes.
convince or impress someone outside of yourself. So
Yes.
these are some simple tools. It's best through interaction. It's best if you can connect with me, that's great. I'll guide you through a bit of a journey with my compliments, and then you can be on your own. I want to be able to assist you in navigating through the uncharted waters first that may be terrifying. Let's unpack that first, and then it becomes easier. First, we have to release the physical, emotional layers of tension. As archaeologists, we are together, and then the creative gifts come flowing as you trust
Oh,
your own knowing, growing.
allowing yourself to step into the person who you really are,
Exactly.
to that power, and whether or not it's sharing the message with the world or whether or not it's just sharing your message with yourself and honoring and acknowledging your own journey. I know that happens, so many people, Gary, that I've talked to too, it's all about helping others, but we stop or we forget to stop and acknowledge our own journey.
Exactly.
Just for ourselves.
It's so true. My key core wound in my life from a wonderfully intentioned mother who was an Aries, so she had this fiery kind of pushiness to her. I never felt good enough with all the A pluses I got in school and all my, my achievements when I was younger as well. And so in this core wound of I'm not enough, I've been plagued with this my whole life. My self-identity for all those years was in performing, in presenting, in looking good out there. And I thought that my worthiness, just like my mom, was in helping others. And part of my dilemma, which now I'm helpful to help other professional helpers, is to turn that around. I have that in my book, Get Up, Stand Up for Your Life. The message that by giving to myself first, I'm a waterfall flowing over, and then I feed myself, 3 key words, with nurturing, inspiring, and empowering myself first, and everything in my life and all those whose lives I'm graced to touch makes sense.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you ever so much, Gary, for sharing that. And I said, I definitely do want to have another conversation with you because there's so much more to talk about. But before we do go, I just have a couple of questions. And one of them would be, is there anything else? Is there any questions that I could have asked or that you would have liked me to ask? And how would have you answered that?
Okay. Scanning all the moments. One of the more sensitive questions that you might ask me that you didn't ask is, tell us an embarrassing moment that you experienced in your journey that also assisted you in developing and honing your skills even more. Okay. I was in San Diego, California, and I was presenting for another advanced session of the National Speakers Association, because at that point I was seen as quite a mentor and a coach to coaches and speakers. This was 20, 30 years ago. And there was a problem at one moment where the video cameraman light bulb blew up and landed on someone's head and started burning their hair. Oh my gosh. It was an embarrassing moment for everybody. I had a choice, okay? At that moment, I had a choice to fumble and go, oh my God, we've got to stop. I didn't do that. The way I am oriented, everything that happens is a part of the equation. So I include everything that happens. And so I said to everybody, now that's an example of an electrifying moment. And sometimes we think when we present, we've got to get the points clear, the examples and stories all correct, and then the applications of what's in it for me from the audience point of view, all carefully delineated, stylized, structured, and rehearsed before we present it all. Yet, it's true, isn't it? It's the moment when we break down and break through that our exquisite humanity,
Yeah.
Our depth of caring, our vulnerability as strength comes through. So I use that point, which I now use in my private sessions as well, to say, to embrace and embody our perfect imperfections, that in doing so, greater lessons can be learned, and the gift of being enough in the joys, in the sorrows, in the shame, blame, anger, pain, and joy, all the things that happen together, owning a sense of wholeness. So that particular moment was an embarrassing one, yet in utilizing it as part of the framework, let's see how we can learn from this. I always like to say, in the I, my example, in the you, how it applies to you, and in the we, the principles that connect us together. What can we learn from what just happened? And then people can say, well, here's what I learned. I thought I had to be perfect to show up. And now I realize it's actually my humanity that people love. And I don't have to prepare so much anymore. I don't have to hide behind the PowerPoint presentation. I can connect with other souls because it's a relationship with myself, my messaging, and the audience. That means more than getting it all right. But that's a good example of a most embarrassing moment and how to turn these
How to
around
turn it around.
for mutual benefit.
Yeah, yeah, and use them as examples, because you know the embarrassing moments happen to everyone
Absolutely.
at all different times, at all different things. It's part of life, but the skill is to use them and to turn them around. So I love it. Thank you. Thank you
You're
ever
welcome.
so much for sharing that. I enjoyed it. I said I'll definitely be checking out your website, your YouTube channel, and everything else that we've got, and thoroughly recommend everyone who is watching, do click on the links below and connect with Dr. Gary. Even if it is just subscribing to the YouTube channel, as little as that. You've got some wonderful skills there, Gary, and I'm honored that you've chosen to share them with our community today, and I'm looking forward to really connecting with you again sometime very, very soon in the serving circle, if not somewhere else.
Sophia. I see it as a sacred responsibility. When we have a gift, it's our responsibility to share that with the collective, particularly these days when part of what is unraveling is the collective, and part of our ability to step into leadership and to be all that we're meant to be is to share the energy that you make feel connected. Oh, I'm holding back, I'm anxious, is simply energy, like butterflies in formation. So if you reframe it, as you reframe it, it comes through in a whole different way. It is our sacred responsibility to share the gifts, the wisdom, the teachings that we've come here with, to make this world and our own personal lives included a better place.
A better place. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your gifts. Thank you.
Such a pleasure, a joy, and an honor to be invited to share on these levels with you.